if you want to build bigger chest and you're looking for that fullness, there is only really 2 exercises you need to do. Many people think that they have to go to the gym, use all the cable machines, the flies, and all the dumbbells and isolate the chest to build a bigger chest. But actually, you only need these 2 bodyweight exercises that I'm about to show you. What's up guys, it's Godrosi from Gymnastics Method, and in this video I'm going to show you the only 2 bodyweight exercises that you need for building a bigger chest. And this is none other than the push-up and the dip, but not the way that most people do it. Today I'm going to show you the best technique you can perform, because believe me, most people do all these exercises wrong. And the other thing is, most people try to isolate the chest to see results, but it's actually counterproductive. And once I started doing these exercises properly, that was the moment when I started to see real results. But before we jump into the technique, I really want to emphasize joint preparation, because that's what's missing for most people. If you don't do these exercises and you don't prepare your body, you won't be able to perform proper reps. So when it comes to pushing exercises, it's going to get a little bit tricky because you need to prepare more joints. It's not like an inverted row or a pull-up where you're basically hanging, which is a beneficial position for your joints, and it's stretching them so it's healthy in itself. But here, you're going to be in a supported position, so you really have to prepare your wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, the scapula area, and the core as well, since it's going to be a close kinetic chain movement and you really need to activate your core. That's a huge difference between using machines and doing bodyweight movements, because you have to use your core all the time, and if it's weak and all the other areas I mentioned are weak, you're going to do sloppy and ugly reps. I already made separate videos about all these preparations, so check them out on the channel if you haven't watched them already. Each joint has a specific preparation process that you have to go through. I don't want to dive into these in this video because it's going to be extremely long, but once again, do wrist, elbow, shoulder, scapula, and core preparation before you start these exercises. But what I really want to emphasize in this video is the scapula motion, because most people just can't activate the chest properly in these exercises because they don't know how to position their shoulders. So now let's see the 2 most important preparations in terms of scapula position that you need for the push-ups and the dips. So the first exercise is the scapula push-up, where you need to perform the same scapula motion that you will have to do in the push-up, but here you won't bend your arms. So for this, I'll show you first in standing. We're gonna go for the push-up position, and you have to depress and abduct the scapulas. I'll show you like this. Depress and abduct. So that's the protraction movement of the shoulder. That's gonna be the starting position. And from here, we won't do a push-up, but we will do the shoulder motion with locked elbows. So you just have to release the muscles and then squeeze. You will use your shoulders, you will use the serratus anterior, which is a key muscle for every pushing exercise, and especially for the planche and all these static skills in support. So you really want to activate those muscles and protract your shoulders in a push-up position. You can do this in a higher angle first if you want to try it, but the goal would be to do it in a full push-up position. Lock your elbows, squeeze your abs and glutes, depress and abduct the scapulas, and then you just go down, you hold it for 1-2 seconds, and you go up, push yourself and hold it for 1-2 seconds. I usually like to do it like down, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, down, 1, 2, up, 1, 2. And what you really have to pay attention to is not to bend your elbows. Like most people usually bend the elbows. The scapula movement is there, but it's not super isolated. So really just stick your arms and use your shoulders and scapulas to move. Okay? The goal should be do like 10 to 15 reps and 15 to 30 seconds hold. If you got this, you can move on to the next preparation exercise to prepare the dips. The second exercise is the scapula depressions in support. You can also do this with a lower bar, parallettes. You can just support on your legs and do the scapula motion like that. And here, the key would be just to maintain a supported position and do scapula depressions and passive elevations. So you let the muscles relax and then squeeze and push up yourself. So the goal would be to do it with your full body weight. You just jump up, the same here, lock your elbows, activate the core, and you go down, 1, 2, up, 1, 2, down, 1, 2, up, 1, 2. And you can do 10 reps or 15 reps and 15 to 30 seconds hold on the top. And once you got this, it's 100% that your shoulders and scapula area and all the serratus muscles are gonna be active and prepared, so you're ready to do the push-ups and the dips. These are the motions that are required to engage the muscles the best way possible, because if you look at a push-up, you will see that you will do the same movement but with bending your arms. Here you will have the stretch for the chest, and from here you can really squeeze the muscle as you go up and have that peak contraction in your chest. So for the push-ups, the scapula push-up is a great prerequisite, and for the dips it's gonna be the depressions in support, but here you don't have to let your shoulders shrug, but here you also want to do a slight adduction of the scapulas and have the same stretch. So if you got these, you can move on, and let's see the first exercise. The first exercise to build a full big chest is the push-up. It's a really simple beginner exercise that anyone can start after the joint preparation that I mentioned, and the correct technique is super important. There are a lot of mistakes that people make, and I will show you the best technique, and after that I will show you the mistakes and how to fix them. You need to put your hands in shoulder width support. You can spread out your fingers, and you can even kind of like grab the floor. Lock your elbows on the top when you do the starting position. Depress and abduct the scapulas, as I mentioned in the scapula push-ups. And from here, you just have to engage your core. So do posterior pelvic tilt, squeeze your abs and glutes. That's a typical mistake most people make, that they don't engage the core, so it's more like this. You have to squeeze your lower abs and glutes, and that's gonna be the posterior pelvic tilt. You can do it in a hip width straddle if you have tight hips and you can't maintain the posterior pelvic tilt easily with closed legs, but if you have good mobility, then I suggest to do it with closed legs. So from here, as we bend the elbows, the scapulas will naturally getting close to each other. You have the stretch at the bottom, and from there you push up yourself and contract those chest muscles fully. The other important thing is to lean a little bit forward, so your chest should be about 45 degrees moving forward. So this will make sure that your elbows stay above the wrists, because if you do it otherwise, it's going to be more like this. So the elbows move backward, you can't really engage the chest, and in the long run maybe you will have some elbow issues. So you want to lean forward, have the right position, pay attention to the scapular motion and the peak contraction on the top. Okay? It's not as difficult, it's not too many key points, but you know, it's enough to make mistakes. So as I said, the most common mistakes, and what I think, if you just fix one thing, it's gonna be the range of motion. Most people don't go all the way down and all the way up. They usually just pump, the elbows move to the side, and they are just pumping. Many people think that just do partial range of motion here is good, but the biggest the range of motion and in the biggest way you use your muscles, the more results you will see. So I highly encourage everyone to do full range of motion. You can even do push-ups on parallettes or on parallel bar that I will show you, to have the deepest stretch possible. And that's one thing, if you fix, you will see better results. The other mistake that I mentioned briefly is the elbows. So the elbows don't go next to the body, but go to the side. That's also wrong. And another big one is the lack of posterior pelvic tilt. So it's a sagging hip and not active. And inactive core. So when you do something like this, maybe you have a good chest pump, but it's not going to be the best benefits because you just don't use the full range of motion and you disengage your core. So these are the main mistakes, and to avoid that, the best thing you can do is to build up the exercise gradually. So don't start immediately on the floor. You can start on a higher surface. So for example, if we go to a bar here, you can even start at the wall, but if you have a higher bar like this, you can pay attention to the same key points: locked elbows, depressed abducted scapulas, posterior pelvic tilt, and you do the push-up the same way. It's going to be way easier and you'll be able to perform proper reps. And you know, maybe it looks lame, but I always recommend everyone just to build the neuromuscular connection and do the right technique easily first. So teach your nervous system and teach your body how to do it properly, and only after load the exercise maximally. The goal of this exercise is to do at least 15 reps 3 times, and I always tell people that if you can do 15 reps 3 times in 3 consecutive workouts, then we can say that you mastered the push-ups, and you just have to make sure that you do the right technique. So record yourself, ask for a friend or hire a coach to make sure that you do it properly, because if you do so, I guarantee you will see the results in the fullness and the pump of the chest. You can perform this exercise in pair with the inverted rows. It's a perfect match. It's an agonist and antagonist exercise. So you do a pushing motion, and after that you do the opposite, the pulling motion. And you can do a core exercise like the V sit-ups and do some legs like lunges, squats or Cossack squats, and you have a full body workout. All right, now let's move on to the dips. So the second essential bodyweight exercise to build big chest is the dips. The dips are the squats of the upper body, as they usually say, and a secret weapon of gymnasts, because if you take a look at a gymnast physique, you see that chiseled look, the full chest, and the contour of the side chest. And what I can tell you that gymnasts do a lot is dips. So that's their secret weapon, and if you do these properly, you will have the same results. So once again, I'll show you the proper technique with the final progression. We talked about the prerequisite already, so if you have good scapula depressions in support and you master the push-ups properly, you have an easy time. We start from here: locked elbows, depressed scapulas, active core, and as we descend, we want to lean forward a little bit, similarly to a push-up, and pay attention to the scapular depression all the time. So here, you don't want to shrug the shoulders and go down, because that's going to be an unstable position for your shoulders. You want to keep the depression, but you want the scapulas to adduct a little bit. So a little bit retract your shoulders as you lean forward, so you have the same stretch. If you don't do it, you will just do, you know, super strict and rigid dips without stretching the chest. And you really want to stretch the chest if you want to see results. So it's the same as in the push-ups. You want the elbows to stay above the wrists, so that's why we lean forward. You don't want to do it this way because it's going to be more triceps centric. And it's not bad if you have prepared elbows and your joints are prepared. If your elbows move backward, it's fine. You will work more on the triceps. But if you want to build bigger chest, you want to lean forward. You want to put less emphasis on the triceps and more on the chest. So that was the proper technique. You really want the center of mass to move as well. So don't keep the hips in one place. That's a mistake. You want to go down, stretch, and go up to the starting position, maintaining the shoulder depression, and you can do slight retraction and really try to focus on the chest as you go up and reach that peak contraction. Common mistakes: first, the elbow position that I showed already. So if it goes backward, it's still fine. It's going to be more triceps centric. But if it goes outwards, that's a big no-no, because It puts your shoulders in an unbeneficial position, and also it's going to overload the elbows as well. So you don't want to do it this way. As you can see, it's ugly, and maybe you have a good stretch in your chest, but your shoulders and elbows are going to suffer in the long run. And another huge mistake is the hip position that I showed you already. You don't want to keep the hips in one place, so you don't want to do it like this. You want it to move. And another huge one that I almost forgot, what I mentioned before, is the range of motion. So it also depends on shoulder mobility. That's another key factor here, that if you don't prepare the shoulder mobility, you will have less range of motion, and you can still do dips like that. But if you want to get the most out of it, you really want to focus on this shoulder extension mobility and perform as big range of motion as you can. Because if you just pump here, your chest will get a partial load. But if you go all the way down, and if you look at a gymnast doing dips, you will see full range of motion, because flexibility and strength are both important. That's another topic. You can check videos on the channel about shoulder mobility. I highly recommend it to everyone to work on this to get the most out of the dips. All right, so now let's see the progressions. Here you actually need more tools than for the push-up, because I mentioned there, essentially you just change the body position or you decrease the leverage. So if you do a kneeling push-up, that works. If you do a 45-degree push-up, that also works. But here you don't want to use the full body weight first, because at the first place I told you that many people don't have the shoulder extension mobility. That's one thing, so you don't want to injure yourself. And the other is that it would be a huge load because you use your full body weight. So the first step would be just a leg assisted dip, that if you have like lower P-bars like this, or if you have a parallel bar which is higher but you have a box or something that you can stand on, that's going to work too. So here you want to help as much as you need with your legs, so you don't want to help too much and too little. So try to perform the best technique you can and assist with the legs just as much as you can. Okay, so that's one step. The other, which is really good and my students love it, is the dips with a resistance band. You can place the band here, like crossing the bars, and you just put your shins on it and make sure that it's stable enough. You're supporting on the band so it's not gonna slip out. And from here you can perform the same technique that I told you, and it's gonna be way easier. As I told you in the beginning, you really want to build this neuromuscular connection. You want to build the technique with low intensity, and after that you can load it. And after the resistance band exercises, you can do a negative. So just perform the negative phase of the movement. You go up and you slowly descend, paying attention to the right technique, and you stop and you just jump up and do it again. This is a really good way to program your nervous system to the right technique and to build strength. And if you can do like 5 to 10 reps like this, then I'm sure you'll be able to do a few reps. But again, if you build up the push-ups properly, you should be able to have enough strength. If you can do 15 reps 3 times from the push-up, that you can perform a few dips as well. So this is the way we usually build it up. The foundations are crucial. If you do everything right, you will see that you start with joint preparation. It's gonna be weird and unusual, but after that you go to the push-ups, it's gonna be way easier than before. And then if you go to the dips, it's gonna be way easier than before. So as you go, it's gonna be easier and easier because you built those foundations. So how to implement the dips into your workouts? You just match it with pull-ups. It's the same as with the push-ups, inverted rows. Here you do pull-ups and dips. It's gonna be agonist and antagonist exercises. And if you add a core exercise like leg raises and a leg exercise, then you have a full body workout. And both of these workouts can be performed 2-3 times a week. And if you do it consistently with the proper technique and everything right, you will see insane results. So these are just the baselines, as you see, push-ups and dips. But there are other variations. You can do harder progressions, you can load these exercises much more. But if you can do only the baseline, the way I showed you, I guarantee you will see insane chest gains. And after that, you can do ring push-ups, ring dips, time under tension, explosive reps, weighted reps, so you can load the push-ups and dips with extra weight. That's another world. And I myself can do dips and pull-ups with 2 plates, like 45-pound plates. So that's another level. If you want me to make videos about those, let me know in the comments. But I already have some videos on the channel, so check them out. If you need a personalized plan and you want to put your progress in a fast track, click the link below, apply to one-on-one coaching. Otherwise, if you want to work at your own pace, check out the link below, download my app on the Google Play Store or App Store, become a member and get access to all my programs, tutorials, daily workouts and much more. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and now check out the videos I mentioned earlier on the end screen.